Weddings are a lot of fun, but planning can be kind of tough. There are so many details to think about, and it's easy to forget what's really important along the way.
And if you've watched this series before, you'll have heard a lot of advice from us and from other wedding vendors about planning sustainable events. But we haven't yet heard from married couples themselves.
So this season, we've invited 4 recently married couples to a dinner party to chat about their wedding planning experience, the good, the bad, and everything in between. They'll sit down with our friend Sarah, an event planner here in Victoria, to chat about their own weddings and to share their insights.
Throughout the night, we'll be treated to deliciously scrappy appies and local libations. So let's sit around the table and talk about how to get you sustainably wed.
All right, so besides the people that we have with us, as well, there are things that stay with us long after our wedding. And I think it's a really interesting point of view to think of what you all feel is valuable after the wedding. You know, we think of all the planning and everything that goes into this big day, and it's really all geared towards 24 hours, but you have a lifetime afterwards. And I'm just so curious to hear, and I think other couples who are just at the start of their journey would be interested to hear what was actually most memorable or most valuable in hindsight. So perhaps we can start with, what you do think back as something that you've kept either physically or maybe emotionally that you still look back on, still talk about. And I know for some people it's been maybe just a couple months, but maybe it's been years. What do you think was the most valuable thing after your wedding? And did you expect it to be that thing? Maybe Rad and Rob, do you want to start?
Sure, yeah. One thing that I didn't think was going to be as valuable, and it is the video that I do watch every year. I'm not just saying that, like I it's so amazing to be able to experience that day again and again and again, and especially around our anniversary, I like to watch it. And then the second thing was our rings. We got to reuse my great uncle's chunky, gaudy gold chain into our wedding rings.
Oh, that's cool.
And the rocks came from, in my band, when Rob's parents went to Australia and rock hounded.
Yeah, my parents are rock hounds, and they
Sorry, I
love
should
to
call
go.
them gemstones, not rocks.
That's so special.
Yeah.
And like the video, I was being a videographer pusher because I've seen so many couples who were like looking at their photos and being like, I don't know what I was laughing at. I don't know what was sad at that moment. I don't know, I don't remember. And it's so true because I feel like looking back at the video, I had tunnel vision because I was like so in it.
Right.
And wouldn't have caught, the expression on your dad's face or like other people while they were yelling surprise. I wouldn't have remembered any of that or like even thought to look because I was just so in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we still have the postcards that everybody wrote to us, and we pull those out every once in a while. So
That's
it's
very
a really
cool.
nice heirloom to have.
Yeah, so you got to continue on like a physical family heirloom as well within that, but then the tool of the video to kind of reinvigorate and keep all those memories and the context of the whole wedding day alive.
Oh,
Bless you.
Yeah, and it's really nice because some people are like, you're having a bad day, so I watch your video and it makes me happy.
That's great. So for guests too.
Yeah, and like people who like weren't even at the wedding like say that to us. So yeah,
Very cool.
It's really nice. And like I know like Rob still wears his suit. He's worn it in like the team photo shoot. He's worn it to meetings.
Cool.
I'm consigning my dress right now because, well, other than wearing it in Instagram reels, I'm not gonna wear it again.
That's great. So attire, rings, and I think that's maybe something we forget about when we're talking about wedding planning is those elements that you're going to keep forever, right? Things that now personally belong to you. They're not just a one day affair. That's really cool. I like that. Michael and Casey, what was most valuable to you after it all?
Most valuable, I agree, the video. It was hands down, we knew going in that was something we wanted.
Yeah.
Because it's just so alive and it takes you back. Our suits are custom made and monogrammed, so that's something that we'll have forever.
Nice.
So there's something kind of special about that. And I haven't worn the suit jacket, but the suit pants and shirt. What else? We kept, our vows. Our vows were written in little books that we used. So
That's a
we
nice
kept
touch.
that. Yeah. In a wine box.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have a wine that we were going to open a year from now, but did we end up putting a wine?
No, there is a wine in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure we drank it.
No. We're not alcoholic.
Although, we're still waiting for that last drink.
So valid. I was gonna say we are still waiting for that last drink. Should we get it before we continue
I was
on?
like, you're
I
looking
like
for
it.
a transition. This is it.
I like it. Drink, please.
We invited Twist of Fate, a local event bartending company, to make our couples a cocktail featuring local and sustainable ingredients, something they specialize in.
Okay, the next cocktail we have coming up here is called Leave It to Cedar. It is using one amazing local ingredient in particular, the Tofino Distilling Old Growth Cedar Gin. Quite a unique flavor profile. As it sounds, it does give some cedar notes, and it's just a spectacular version of quite a contemporary gin. Gin over the last few years has gone from your grandma's London dry style gin that had a bit of a bad reputation, and that was kind of the only style of gin around, to now there's all of these different unique styles, a lot of them made in BC. Gin has kind of become the spirit of BC, and in different parts of the province, people are using botanicals that grow there and featuring them in their unique styles of gin. So we've got the Tofino Old Growth Cedar Gin. There is sour mix. It's kind of like a gin sour, you might call it. Sour mix that we make from scratch using fresh lemon, fresh lime, and sugar. We've got some egg whites in here as well. Classic sour normally features egg whites. And then there is some Alberta-made Black Cloud bitters. They're charred cedar bitters, which are also, they're hard to find because they're so popular, so unique, and so craft-made. But we've got some for this cocktail here. With any cocktail with egg whites, you do want to spend a little bit extra time shaking it to really get those egg whites going, all frothed up, and give that lovely texture, which is hard to replicate with anything else. We're using a coupe style glass. We've got a lovely assortment of cocktail coupes in our glassware repertoire. Got some of the Black Cloud bitters here. We're gonna do on top for nice aromatic effect. And then we've got a cedar frond with a little garnish touch there. So Leave It to Cedar, contemporary gin sour.
Should we do a final cheers? Cheers to good stories and better cocktails.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, that's lovely. One thing I forgot to mention earlier was for the ceremony we had pictures of like Michael's parents and my grandparents and our parents on their wedding days, and so that now we have those up in our house.
Yeah.
And so that's a really I thought that was cool. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, I would not have printed those if it not had been for our wedding.
That's true.
I like that.
Yeah.
Bring it back to that societal, actual ceremony and the connection between us all. That's really cool.
I'm gonna steal that idea.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like that.
And it's never too late.
No.
Actually, great. Simon and Allie, most valuable to you. You definitely have some things hanging around in your backyard, but
I'd say my engagement ring is actually made from your mom's
Two of my mother's
rings, the
rings,
gold from
yeah.
there. Yeah, so that's definitely the top.
She passed and she left us some jewelry, and I melted that down and proposed to you with her rings.
Crazy. So special. So special. But
And aside from like the altar and all just the fact that our backyard is now a wedding venue, I kind of forgot until we started talking about this, but I bought a sword for my for my outfit because I wore a kilt on our wedding day, and I thought like a sword would be really cool. So now it just hangs in our bedroom wall, and I'm gonna give that to our child if we ever have one.
That is so cool.
Like maybe not when they're super young.
Or when they're mad at you.
Maybe on their wedding day.
I like that. Navio and Elena?
Yeah, just listening to everybody else's heirlooms and things that got us kind of thinking.
Yeah.
And kind of we're looking at each other like, yeah, we did some things like that. Yeah, in our first year of dating, we actually had a little kind of like journal where we would kind of write back and forth like what was happening kind of on a daily basis, really. So that's where we wrote our vows. So it's really special to be able to bring like some of our early memories from our relationship out on the day of our wedding. I think our guest book too was sort of like something that was kind of like an afterthought, but we had everyone take Polaroids and write us messages, and I mean it's just so simple, but we look back on that all the time. The wedding video, like I heard he was saying, like I think as soon as we got our shorter one, I think I watched it every morning when I would wake up. My alarm would go off and I'd pause it, and then I'd watch the video and I'd be like, I'm in a great mood today. So, like set the tone.
Yeah, I think pictures capture the moments as they were.
Yes.
And then I would zoom in on little corners like, oh, like that's our friend and their kid. I'm like, oh, I obviously would not have seen that. Kind of cool to see a bigger picture of everything. Yeah. And then the video, what was really awesome about it is that it's the story retold in a way that I wouldn't have envisioned. And it was incredible to get to relive it differently. Yeah. So the video and photo did different things for me, and I look back at them a lot.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and did you find that you maybe looked at pictures a little differently as you moved on as well? Like there's the ones you get right away and you're like, yeah, I look bomb here. This is the Instagram post. But then like you said, you look back and it's like, wow, I would never think I would have a photo of my grandmother and my best friend talking.
Yes.
My dad, I guess. Oh, yeah. So my dad's a big, like, he doesn't drink, and he raised me to not drink.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, Dad.
I'm leaving it.
Yeah. And my friends had a bet on who thinks my dad will drink on our wedding
terrible,
day.
But
I love this. Yeah.
And so it was like, everybody's like, there's no way Andrew is gonna drink. And then two friends are like, we're gonna get him. So we had a golden hour thing, photo and video, and right when we get back, he drank.
Drink in hand, okay.
So there's photos and video of this all happening. So we get to relive that moment. So that was unexpected.
I think the unexpected moments too are the ones that we hold on to like the most. Like little things that were not part of our timeline at all, that like kind of looking back that were like, wow, those are some of our favorite moments, and we kind of like let the day happen and unfold, and in that we found like a lot of really cool magic. So
yeah, and I think, and that is so huge, and it's something that we can try and talk to couples about, but you really don't know until you're there, and you can think that this one detail is going to be the be all end all, but it was really the dance that was impromptu and you never saw coming that stays with you. But on that note, does anyone else have favorite memories from their day? It could be something that you knew was going to be great, or like, you know, Navio and Alana said, something that was unexpected, unplanned.
So Michael and I were waiting to go in to the reception after we did our pictures and everything. The bridal party or the wedding party had just come in, and my dad and his best friend were coming back from the bathroom. So they were like about to go in. We're like, no, you go in, like hold arms. So here they are, the wedding announcer is going like, okay, everybody get up, get your drinks, you know, we're gonna welcome, and here come in my dad and his best friend. Like,
and it was like our turn. Like it was so funny because like it was just the
timing.
perfect. The timing could not have been any better because the wedding party just went in, and it was like our turn to go in, but they were both there, just coming out of the bathroom, and there was just like, you guys go in, like you go first.
This is happening.
Yeah, this is happening. So it was quite funny.
The element of surprise.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We got a call from Rob's grandmother on FaceTime because she couldn't be there. She's too old to travel at the time, and we got that on video, which was really nice.
Yeah.
You could hardly hear her, but
Of course.
she was still there. And I think also our guitarist, we haven't talked about him at all. He was fantastic. We gave him so many songs to learn, and he learned one from the dudes, The Dress, and we had like a little impromptu first dance because that was not part of the plan. And it turned out that he opened for the dudes like a really long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like a full circle moment.
And you got a first dance even though it wasn't part of the timeline.
Yeah.
Because
Very
we didn't
cool.
really want to do that because we were like, we're blowing tradition out of the water, right?
Yeah.
And so, but then it kind of just happened.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Any other favorite moments?
I think the karaoke.
Yeah.
It was good.
Simon's whole band went up. It was so fun.
It was really fun.
Yeah.
And we can thank my roommate for that as well.
Yeah, Randy.
He said he's audiovisual club guy. We set up the projector screen. You know, it was amazing. And really brought everyone together.
Sounds like we're all going to a party at Simon's.
I mean, I do barbecues in the summer.
No, I think that's great, and it's so fun to hear all these different moments that are really wildly different because your groups and yourselves are wildly different. But it's really coming back to the memory and the connection and those things that you never saw coming. And none of it is actually coming back to decor or florals or the things that were there, which is really cool to hear because you're all just talking organically about how the day made you feel. And really that's what both couples and guests take away, right? Curious, was there anything in your journey that you thought was going to be the most important, but it was not in any way, shape, or form?
The details. Like,
The details, yeah.
There was like, I thought like I would care so much about like the table setup and all that. And then the day of, it all happens, just, I could not care less.
Did you even notice it?
Like I didn't even notice. Like I mean, it was beautiful. Like I mean, I'm so happy for our friends. But
Were you talking about like
the setting and like because that was for some reason I was just like including like the bridesmaids like bouquets and all that. Like it was literally so simple. It was just like a stem of flowers with like we wrapped something around it. Like it was just like a little DIY moment like the night before and but the day of it was just like perfect. And I looked at the pictures and I was like, that worked out well. Like yeah.
Well, and it's so tempting to get caught up in all those little details, right? Like
totally.
so tempting. Very cool.
Because our florist forgot about it. And we were just like, a single stem flower will do just fine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
the little details and like, I don't know, there's like, in our family, a wedding is like a full weekend affair. So there are lots of, like there was the wedding day, but then on top of it, we had the ceremony. And then we had a family reception where we brought everyone together on the Friday. So that was really more important, although, and added so much more stress because we were adding more events. But it meant that when on the day of, things just, people knew each other. People saw each other and had already met previously, so that when they got to the wedding, it wasn't like, that awkward, like, oh, I should introduce myself to people I didn't know. They did that already.
That's cool. So the pre-events ended up being maybe more important than you would have ever thought.
Yeah, especially for that coming together of the families, and I think it helped create a more like fluid evening or daytime for us.
Nice. I appreciate that. Anything else that you thought would be really important, but it turns out you didn't even notice?
Maybe our schedule.
I was going to say timeline, but I'm like, timeline is important, but like to a degree. But I think
things.
I think just being able to go with the flow a little bit was really nice, and like I said, like kind of just like let us have some space to have some moments that we didn't see coming, but that were really precious, and
That's a really good tip though. Leave space in your timeline, because again, it's not just a production. It's your story and your day, and you only get this once. So leaving time for that, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. Any other, details that you found you maybe stressed out about so hard? Or do you have any, wisdom for these couples that are just starting on their process, besides don't paint pineapples? you know, how to not get caught up in those or how to reprioritize when you do.
Remember?
Oh, sorry. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I was going to say, remember, it's for you. It's not for everybody else. You know, this is you setting your intentions for your relationship moving forward.
Totally. It's not just one day, right? Like we're talking about a marriage here. Yeah.
I think one of the things I really appreciated that we made a point of doing for ours was that we got up and got ready and everything together. We didn't do a separate, you know, bride and groom suite or...
Because we didn't have a wedding party. Yeah. And we also took some time right after the ceremony and like we had dinner with our families and we sent them off to the surprise part, well, the second surprise. And we just took like 20 minutes to like let it sink in. Because I feel like that's something that like I always try to work into our couples' timelines, and sometimes it doesn't get to happen because of, you know, XYZ. But yeah, it was great because we got to have that moment to connect and just be like, oh my God, we did it. We surprised everyone and like, and just talk it through. Yeah.
Honestly, good advice on both ends. Remember it's for you, and then remember the things that were you, right? Like go through and talk through what just happened and what you just did. It's momentous.
I was going to say that a small detail that I think sometimes gets overlooked is that 45 minutes before the ceremony, where like, you know, we were very similarly together, and we were crossing paths with some of our guests who were going in, and they, you know, were kind of breaking a little bit of our surprise and that moment. And so I wish there was that small moment where I was like, don't look at me, go. You know? And I was like, well, I think they've already looked at me.
So really prioritize you.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
maybe if we had just, you know, coordinated a little bit better, had a different area for us to gather, so that when we're actually getting ready to go in, like it's really that element of surprise. Because I think it brings something so some solace to what we're doing. We're embarking on this journey together, and we want our families to be as excited as we are. And
that's very cool.
I think something for me, for not the couples, but everyone kind of close to the couple, is to maybe like ask the couple what they have considered or what they're thinking, so that it may not come across as impositional. Because I think couples are already either stressed, or they have a planner, or they already have ideas they're kind of fielding through.
Right.
And so asking them what they're already thinking about is probably more helpful than the guests think they will when they start to say, well, why don't you, and what about, and it's like,
Have you
probably,
thought about this?
it's like, yes, obviously.
More like, hey, what are you excited about? And what
Yeah.
that would be, I can see, so helpful in stopping you from maybe spiraling about details that you didn't even know were details you should spiral about.
Right. Yeah. So then instead of giving the advice, is just to be there to listen and be part of that experience.
Yeah. I like that. And really the power of community too, right? To support us not only through our wedding day, but through marriage as well. Probably the same thing you would want going forward. I like that.
Can I add something to that too? I feel like if as a couple you get really into like your why, then it's easier to answer those questions when people start asking, have you thought about that, or what about this too? Because then you're kind of like steadfast in what you know and why you're doing it.
Yeah, the values that underlie, you know, both your weddings. We talked about it for vendors and how important values are, but really when it comes to you guys as well. That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, Simon and Ali, obviously you were forced to change some details and to not be able to care about some of the things that happened. But do you have any, you know, looking back, do you have a sense of, you know, oh, I wish that hadn't happened, or does it feel like the day went the way it was supposed to?
Yeah, I mean, I think you talked about timelines. We didn't really have like a hard timeline to meet, but for some reason within me, I was like, oh, your dinner has to start at 6. Like, but why? Like the venue is our house. We're not getting kicked out at a certain time. And maybe that's just how I operate, is I have a preconceived notion of how things need to carry on. And like, oh, photos were supposed to happen at 2, and I don't think it consumed me. I don't think I was like way too worried about that. But yeah, like looking back, I would have just been like, cool, well, photos now, I guess. Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of rushed through them because we were worried about getting back to our house to, make sure the setup was going well. But everyone had it under control.
Yeah, I would
We showed up and it
chilled
was
out
awesome.
at that point if I could change anything. Just
But-
calm
Okay,
down.
see, that's good. So you thought like you'd be really, stressed about all the things, but if you could go back, you'd chill out.
And
let it
like
happen.
one of the best memories is like, that time where it's just you guys, because after the ceremony we had, we did some shots for the video, we did some photos, but like we were just like, okay, cool. Like what we thought was going to be 2 hours of photography was like 45 minutes because we were like, we're done. We're good. And then one of my favorite parts of the day was just driving, you and me in the car in our sweet outfits and going through the McDonald's drive-thru, getting free pies. It was sweet.
Yes.
That was maybe the best part of the day.
Totally.
And this is so cool to hear, especially as a planner, because these are also the moments that while we can guide, we actually can't create or script or do for you. Like these are the things that come from you. And I think it's so important to remind couples to like be empowered and take those moments and really be personal when you come into the, big machine of wedding, where there's things happening and some venues are doing 1 million weddings a weekend, to slow down, be intentional and create those thoughtful memories or heirlooms, things that you're going to keep forever. And it's really, really fun to hear how those were the things that are sticking with you post-wedding. Yeah. Yeah?
Great wrap up.
Thanks. Please drinks. Please drinks now.